This episode is brought to you by the No Tact Talk podcast, where the only rule is to have no tact. That's right, it's spelled T-A-C-T, just in case you didn't get it the first two times. Be sure to subscribe, rate, and review this podcast, and tag us on social media wherever you share the episode. You can find all the socials and information on www.notacttalk.com. Now let's get to the show.
These are the kind of things as men that we need to be doing. Not necessarily us like we're right now, having this, on film and video and all of this stuff, but as men sitting down and breaking
doing this.
bread.
Yeah.
And that's why it goes back to my point. I have to be around men specifically that inspire me and have core values that I respect and I know that I need to be around at this point in my life.
All right, we're live. Starting very impromptu. Welcome back to No Tact Talk podcast. To the No Tact Talk podcast. This is the first interview that I have done in person since the COVID-19 pandemic, whatever you want to call it. We had Snowvid here in Texas as well. It was super ghetto. But besides me and my wife, but it's the first one I've done. It was not in my studio. I'm live on location at my boy Norm's house. Okay, what's up, Norm?
What's up, Jay?
You sound great in the mic.
Man, listen, I'm just happy to be here, man.
Yes.
Us chopping it up, dude.
Yes, man. Like we met at church for sure. I think we both have a passion for young men, and we kind of want to make our impression upon them because it's crazy out here. It's super crazy, and after that, you how you just meet folks, see each other on Instagram, stuff like that. Like, oh, this dude might be a little solid. He might be.
Yeah.
Got some substance, So I was like, go ahead.
I'm gonna even take it a little further. It was just the energy, man. Like, met you, got introduced to you. Obviously, we were working with the kids, kind of Sunday school, and then I was just like, okay, I could just feel your energy, man. And I'm a big energy guy. I was like, man, I got to get to know this brother.
Yeah.
Right? And then obviously we started talking a little later.
Yep.
While we were hosting the kids, and here we are, man.
Yeah, and vibes, energy. That's kind of how I've been living for a long time.
Yes.
And you'd be surprised who really don't understand that, or who say, "Yeah, man, good vibes only," but don't really truly understand what it's like for you to be happy for yourself, to know the vibes that you like and like to surround yourself with.
Right.
And then you find that in other people. We think that we have to make our own vibes. Oh, yeah, he okay. No, when you see them red flags, run. We cool.
Right.
Right. We could have been cool. I'll see you at church, bro. But it wouldn't have been nothing like this.
Well, I'm gonna take you back to church real quick,
Okay.
Jay. That's a proverb, right?
Yeah.
Surround yourself with good counsel.
Yeah, man.
Right. That's a proverb, right? And so it's so true, just like the Bible, right? It's an instruction, really gives you instruction of life, right? But a lot of these times we have to learn for ourselves and through our experiences, good and bad stuff. And a lot of times the bad stuff really kind of molds us to really become the men that we're supposed to become.
You got to talk in the mic a little bit.
Yeah, really become the men that we're supposed to be.
It's very informal.
Yeah,
we chill. I don't edit none of this.
Okay,
they already know.
Cool.
I just want people to hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I always tell people I'm a hard learner. I'm extremely hard headed. I'm trying to work on that. I say that all the time, but it's me. I tell people I'm Jay. Unapologetically, and take me how you want me. You know, no chaser, all that whole thing, and that's kind of to give you a little backstory. It was a No Tact Talk brand for the new people that might be listening. It's a No Tact Talk podcast, and it's both sides. So you have the introverted personality, right? So let's just say you're in the grocery store, somebody bumps you. The introvert would be like, oh, okay, whatever, cool, and keep on going, trying not to have any confrontation. Me, I'm like, hey, bro, whatever. And so the introvert goes home like, man, I wish I would have said something. They hate themselves. That person that bumped into them, they don't care. Never gonna see you again.
Right.
But the introvert is like, man, I wish I would have just said something in that moment. Blah blah blah. No, have a little no tact, and speak your piece. They might tell you go to jail or nothing, but speak your piece,
Right.
and that way you feel better about yourself. You're living who you are, your truth, because you wanted to say it, but we gonna call our homegirl and our homeboy. Hey man, this is what happened. What did you say? I ain't say much or nothing, but what we talking about? You should have said it to them. And then for me, I'm going above and beyond. I'm like, hey man, I'm gonna make it a scene when I should have just like addressed it, but not like, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
And then people were like, Jay, I grew up, you too much, or people told me this, you have no tact, or you rough around the edges, this and the third. And so one day I just like, forget y'all. I was just like,
yeah,
because I tried to chill and to, be politically correct and do what everybody else said I should be doing in these moments. But I would go home and hate myself for it. I'm like, I can't live like this.
But you know what though, man? What you just said, it takes a lot of people a lifetime. And some people never. And some people are never living in their true, authentically genuine space. I can speak for myself. I've always been kind of who I am. I think I'm a mix between introvert and extrovert.
Okay.
But I remember when I got into corporate America, I didn't have any mentors per se that kind of taught me a lot of the stuff because it wasn't many people that looked like me in my space, in the technology space. And I thought I needed to act a certain way when I was at work and be this person who I perceived that I thought I needed to be in order to get ahead and do, even though instead of just letting my work speak for itself. Well, Jay, I learned a valuable lesson in the business world. It's only one you, man. And guess what? It hurt me career-wise at this one specific company because they knew authentically, man, this ain't Norm. This ain't the guy that I know he is.
That I hired or came on.
Of course, they didn't come out and
else.
say that, right? But I had to learn that. And so now, and it was a valuable lesson. So now I try to just be a vessel and try to teach, especially young brothers and young people that look like us, try to say, hey, you know what? If I'd have had somebody sit me down and be like, hey, man, dude, this ain't you. Be who you are, right? And I learned that the hard way. But, again, this was a valuable lesson that I had to just go through this. But, man, it took me 5 or 6 years.
Because, culture and society. And when I tell people this, like, nobody is getting mad at you or blaming you for quote unquote conforming. We'll just use that, for lack of better words. But we get in these spaces, especially when people don't look like us, and we feel like we have to do. And and I did my research on that a little bit. It's called intergenerational trauma, and it goes back. We have it literally in our DNA, even if it's like 10%, I think black or whatever, right? We're like if I walk in, I used to walk outside and like I see like an old white lady or something, I automatically take my hood off or just pull my pants could be on my waist already, but you just automatically just getting into character,
right?
And so of course we grew up in these environments and that's how we have to act, but that goes back to our parents and grandparents. It's in our DNA, and that's what people have been trying to.
We're socially conditioned from day one.
It's
just like the doll experiment, right?
Okay, what's that?
The doll experiment is basically kind of what you just said. So take a kid. And they had black kids and white kids all young, like, adolescent age, 3-4 years old, right? And they put dolls there and they said, hey, pick the doll that you want, so 90% of the time, the black kids picked the white doll.
Kind of like the thing with the girls and the Barbie dolls. Whoo. That's why. And
just think about that, man.
That wasn't.
So,
wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah. So we are socially conditioned at an early age. And then you got to understand, man, we're breaking, 350, 400 years of slavery, man.
And then for men at that.
Yeah.
Men, we have it double. I feel like we have it double hard. Because I think at least women, we got the barbershop talk and stuff too, but like women tend to be a lot more emotional creatures.
Right.
And so like I'm not just going to be like crying, like, bro, oh my God, it's happened. Like, nah, bro, chill. Like, you hug, that's it, But in my inner circle, I did a podcast about a month ago. These are the people that I have found that were not my day ones. None of the people in my circle I've known. I think the longest one is maybe like 5 or 6 years, but everybody think is that guy they met, from 3rd grade. He got to be my day one. No, bro, I can meet you right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you could be the best friend I've ever had over anybody. I feel that way about relationships. I feel that way about friendships and in different work environments. It's just you never know who could be for you. Yeah. And it's vibes. And so like the length of something for me, it's cool. Yeah. I guess it counts in marriage, whatever. But I mean, even with women.
So you touched on something, man. So one of my litmus tests.
Okay.
And I agree with you, by the way, what you just said, because I have some friends, man, and I have 20+ year friendships, but they are not in, some of these guys, I love them to death, but I wouldn't invite them to my house and break bread like I'm breaking bread with you. And we just know we've been knowing each other for weeks.
Yeah.
Right. But one of my litmus tests, man, with my circle of friends, first of all, are you a good person? The core of who you are.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Can I trust you? You have integrity. And I'm not just talking about from a successful, people define success, oh, this guy's done well, he's made a lot of money. No. How do you treat the person that can't do anything for you?
Right.
How do you treat the janitor in the gym? How do you treat the waitress or the waiter at the restaurant?
Yeah.
I observe all that. Number one, that's one of my litmus tests. Another one, man, and I'm big on this. I'm getting chills talking about it, right?
Yeah.
You see the goosebumps on my second one is, are you inspiring me? Are you can I look up to you regardless of how this person may be 10, 15 years younger than me or maybe 10, 15 years older than me? Can I look at you and say, hey, are you inspiring me? And that inspiration comes from, number one, a real friendship, in my opinion, man, is you tell people the truth, regardless if it's good or bad, because I know you love me, and I know you're coming from a good place. I don't need yes men, right?
Yeah,
that's the problem with a lot of our society now, especially a lot of these celebrities, and especially black athletes and stars that get up there to get all these yes men, and then next thing you know, boom, they're in trouble. Whereas if you got good people around you, and I would venture to say a guy like LeBron James has some really good people around him.
Yeah.
Because that young man, a man at his age, has never been in trouble. He's been married to the same woman,
same old lady.
And he's made very, very smart decisions. And I respect him outside of him being a basketball player. I think his second act is going to be bigger than his first act.
Absolutely.
As an athlete.
Yep, he got the businesses. He's doing the stuff for the kids in the schools, and
well, Jay, look
and
what
he
he's
doesn't
doing.
care what
his
people
whole
think.
Circle, those guys that he rocked with, he didn't just give them, say, hey man, here's $1 million.
Yeah.
No. He put some of these guys like Rich, and some of these guys have become multimillionaires because he's put them in school and did things to where they have grown with him. And now these guys are moguls now, not just LeBron. His whole circle of friends are multimillionaires. Now, everybody has to have someone or somebody's been in their life to help them. So nobody just becomes a millionaire because, I did it on my own.
No.
So maybe LeBron maybe seeded some of this stuff, but these guys Rich Paul's.
But you can still, if you gave me 50 grand, vice versa right now, you could squander that money and not make good decisions. You got to trust. And that's how I live my life. And some people say it's bad, but I got a guy in my inner circle with finances, and he's like, Jay, you need to learn more about. I'm investing and stuff like everybody tell you to do, but I was like, hey man, let me just give you $2 grand and you make it work, cause I trust you. I don't care about how it works. I know if you say it's gonna work, it's gonna work.
Right.
And that could be very bad, obviously, but like I trust you. And I think I don't care in what organization or field that you're in, everything is relational. There's very few positions that you can just do it by yourself. Like absolutely everything. No help, no push, whatever. And I was just talking about building a team. We were just talking about Clubhouse. We were talking about building a team, and not like a team that's gonna work for you, but a team that's gonna help you succeed. And so in different seasons and businesses, and I'm trying to make it palatable for everybody that's listening. But some people are meant to stick with you the entire time. Right. Those are obviously the people we're talking about. Other people are just there for a season.
Right. And you think about it, right? It's all about growth. It's just like you're married.
It's wanting to grow.
Yeah, you're married, right? If your wife or you stop growing, I would venture to say that person that's growing and that person that stopped growing, I would venture to say you guys have some issues later on in life.
Yeah.
And I see it. I see people that have been married. In fact, one of my neighbors right now, I'm friends with both him and her, right? I'm not going to mention their names, but they are beautiful people. One of them started outgrowing the other. And it got to a point where, hey, they're trying to establish a marriage, but one person wants out of the marriage now because they're just done. So it's nothing. Yeah, it's nothing at this particular point that they can do other outside of God intervening in their life and saying, hey, you know what? God, because God can do the supernatural, right? He's omnipotent, right?
Yeah.
But man, if it's up to them, they'll be divorced in the next few weeks, right?
Yeah, that's how it is. So what do you think about, that's a good question. So, okay, however long, I'm sure it's been a decent amount of time they've been married. What do you think about, all right, well, I've been with this person, I've been friends with them for so long, or I've been with this company for so long, I got so much into this, I can't just leave. Right. I'm asking you, what do you think about the person that says that?
Well, then that person's probably settling, right? They're not truly happy. They're not living their best life.
But I'm already 45 years old, Norm. I'm halfway done.
Yeah.
I might as well just ride this out.
Yeah.
I'm talking as if I'm somebody else. I think about that too.
But you know what? That could have been an option, and I think that was an option for a while for them. But at some point, right, that specific person said, hey, I'm not happy. I'm not living my best life.
Yeah.
I'm at a stage in my life where things are going well, but this right here, my covenant, my marriage is not working. And I'm done. It was warning signs. I gave that person warning signs 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I think it correlates, but I don't think I ever told my wife this story. If you listen to this episode, babe, I love you. So I'm in church. I'm at a church in Birmingham, really big church, and it was this guy I was kind of looking at as a mentor at the time. Come to find out, he was a terrible individual. Deacon.
Yeah. No, I've been there too. Yeah.
So I'm contemplating proposing, and if y'all know my wife, you know she a $120, slim thick, as I say, right? All the women that I had before her were like, dude, like, you know, like the vixens, right? That's what I thought, that I need this, because if I don't have this in a marriage, I'm a cheat. That's what I'm just being honest, because I get it. God, I love God. I'm very deep into the church. I have a great relationship, but I still think we're human. We have fleshly desires.
We're human, man.
And this is what I'm thinking, because I'm retiring.
Yeah.
From this lifestyle.
Yeah.
And so I'm legit thinking, I took a year to wean myself off of these girls. Man, I did the whole thing, because I know that I get it. But I know I'm not going to be in the trenches praying like, God help me, because I'm not that type of person. I need, at the core of me, I need to know that I'm good.
Yeah.
And I'm happy. And anyway, so I asked her, I was like, okay, this is my question. I'm thinking about proposing. She's a great woman, super smart, all the things you want in a woman. But I just don't think her butt big enough.
Yeah.
I said that. But I had to be honest with myself.
But that's real, though.
That's real, right?
That's real.
But I felt bad, because I'm like, man, that's so superficial. That's so whatever. But like, even if it is, I should be able to look. I want to be happy in the most carnal, fleshly of places with my decision. And then all the other good stuff, that's great. But you know what? I want to be happy when it's just me and her. And I am. I'm super happy. But that's part where I had to grow before I had to propose. So I said, hey, Jay, you used to a certain thing, but like, this ain't compared to what you getting, bro. And again, and now it's like I don't even think about it anymore. Like it's like I got 2 handfuls. I'm good, you know. I'm just saying. I'm thinking like, because that's how guys think. And I'm like, so he told me, he was like, yeah, man, leave her. That's what he told me.
I'll say this, Jay. That's wisdom.
I just knew myself. I'm not even sure that was wisdom.
Yeah, but you know what? You've evolved, right? You knew something innately, like, hey, man, I love this woman. I can see her as my wife.
Absolutely.
And at the end of the day, I'm not losing her.
It ain't worth it.
No.
And I ain't had not one single
And I'll be honest
ever.
with you, man. I was that guy just like you, right? And unfortunately, a lot of times, we don't grow as people until we go through some really, really hard shit.
Yeah.
Some stuff that just breaks
Rocks
us.
it to your core.
You almost gotta die to be rebirthed again to become the person that you're supposed to become, right? And I know for me in my life, I felt like I was always a good person, but it was some things that God was working on that I needed to go through. That was some really ugly, tough stuff that I needed to go through to become who I am now. And guess what? He's still working on it.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm so much more confident and better as a man and more prepared to potentially have a wife like yourself or a partner or even being a father one day, which is a prayer and a goal for me than I was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
But I had to go through some really, really tough stuff that was my walk, right? And so yeah, man,
it's battling both.
Yeah.
Like you want to, I feel like there's a lot of good dudes out there that just get caught up in, what society's saying, what they homeboys saying, and they know the right answer.
But I gotta tell you, man, just like we're sitting up here on this podcast, man, sitting up here, these are the kind of things as men that we need to be doing. Not necessarily us, like we're right now, having this, on film and video and all of this stuff, but as men sitting down and breaking bread.
Yeah.
And that's why it goes back to my point. I have to be around men specifically that inspire me and have core values that I respect and I know that I need to be around at this point in my life.
For real. And because it's just like learning a new language.
That's right.
So when I tell people they want to learn Spanish,
you know what it is?
What?
We're having therapy right now.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. That's why I started this podcast.
We cooking, bro.
This was a selfish reason. I started it. It wasn't for people, and I've grown in that aspect as well, knowing that what I'm putting out has to be for the masses. Because,
that's right.
But I started it because, I needed a space. And I have a whole little sub-series around episode 30-ish, I guess, about me going to therapy, being honest with myself, because it's a stigma with black men even going to the doctor, much less therapy. And I was explaining to him, like, yeah, bro, like, it wasn't that bad. Like, and then I'm thinking, okay, I want my therapist, and this is a personal preference, but I'm thinking, I want my therapist to be like a black guy, maybe prior service in the Army to kind of understand what I've been through in that aspect. But she ended up being this 5'1" white lady who was super dope. But it really doesn't matter, in my opinion. You just need someone to talk to.
Well, listen, I'm going to unpeel this, what you just said, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to take it
a
step further, right?
That's all you.
We're talking about therapy. Well, a lot of times we need therapy, and this is relating to everyone. But since we're talking about specifically African American men, specifically, and African Americans in general, that's a what would you say? That's taboo. But the ugly epidemic in our culture right now is depression.
Yep.
So if we don't talk to anybody and it's taboo for us to go, whatever you call therapy, whether you go pay somebody or you sit down with somebody that actually got some good sense that can sit down and talk to you, that's still therapy. I didn't necessarily go over the years that, because I've been through life. I've been through a lot of stuff, and we'll have to, this probably be another session.
My last time coming home.
I've been through life, and I never went to go actually meet with a therapist. But guess what? I had therapists. I had people in my life that were really therapists, other than me having to go and pay for it. But I look back and said, man, I had some people, men and women, people that didn't look like me, people that didn't talk like me, sit down with me, and God, like I say, like angels, man, and open my whole world, and was able to bless me to the point to where at one point in my life, I'm suicidal, I'm zombie-like, I'm in the worst place that you can possibly be in. But through the grace of God, I asked God, I said, God, put people in my life and give me gift of discernment to be around people that love me for me, or bring people in my life that can speak life back into me.
Are you that person for a lot of people?
I think I have become.
Oh goodness, that's my biggest.
But it's
gripe with myself.
but I think I had to go through again. hey, again, I don't want to sound like I don't want to be preachy, but because
preachy,
of
bro.
what I've asked God, and I think God has really had favor and really has put a significant ordainedness on my life. I look back now and I know I had to go through some really, really tough and ugly stuff to be a vessel for where I am and becoming now. And that's to speak life into people and serve others.
I'm saying, so I feel that on both of us. Obviously, you got the vibes going. I've always been that person, but for me, it's like I'm tired of doing that sometimes.
Yeah.
And so I'll even go as far as like, hey, bro, in the circle, and they know I need you to call me more.
That's right. That's right.
I've done that, and that's taboo. Like talking about, hey, bro, I'm going through something. We ain't really gotta talk about it. Blah blah blah. They probably know anyway, but I ain't heard from you, and it just. And this the part where you start feeling like a female,
bro.
y'all.
I feel you, bro.
You start feeling like a female, and it's like, hey man, I want to hear from you more. We good, or whatever. But it's that's hard for people to do. But what I said, and this is funny to me now, but I said I will not be one of them people. And I told my homework this other day. I said I'll be mad at you if you end up killing yourself. I said you gonna get a black eye and a coffin, because and especially with me being your friend, and we talked about that. I was like, and I just felt it, and he never had no issues with suicide or nothing, I don't think. But who would know, right? I just said, I'm gonna be real mad at you, bro, if I gotta find out like this, that it was some depression, you were a letter, whatever, because you got me.
Right.
I know you use that one person, but that's what I think. That's why I think people suffer, because they don't want to speak up. They have the inner circle, that A1 day one, but it's very superficial. It's just about women and going out and whatever else, and that's cool.
Yeah. So you're speaking to me right now, Jay. So one of the things that I've had to learn is, don't assume people know how you feel and what's your buttons. And what you just said has really spoke, and I've gotten better with this. I'm not the best yet, but you got to let people know.
Yeah.
Like, hey,
why am I the
always person that feels like I'm giving and doing this and that, and you're just taking? And they may be innocently not, just because that's just who you are. That's just who I am.
They thinking you're good. Yeah, man, you always happy.
Like, no, man, I ain't good. Like, man, I need people. Man, I need to be. I can't be just giving, and then my tank gets empty. But what I used to do, which wasn't healthy, I would just go in a cave. I just wouldn't talk to them.
Yeah, but then you're mad for like months.
Yeah, and then they're like.
Yes.
They're like, oh, this dude's just moody. Oh, this
dude's like, what's wrong with you, bro? Like,
so I let people know, just kind of what you just said. You're reinforcing, and this is why it's so important for us, and I'm speaking not just men, but us as men, because women communicate so much better, and they talk and they get together and they have their beehives and all that stuff. Whereas us, man, we gotta. Oh man, I don't cry. I don't tell my brother I love him.
Yeah.
Man, my boys.
Yeah, same thing.
Bro, I love you.
Yep.
At first they was a little uncomfortable, but they know me. They like, man, this is who Norm is. This all like, bro, when I say that, I got your back, bro.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
and people, now the people that know me, they know it's not weird, but like, we got to break these whole stereotypes and stigmas and back to culturally, like, we got to be strong. Man, we're human. Man, we hurt. We have all of the same emotions that any
men
other
are way
person.
more emotional than women. I feel like. I know that for a fact. I tell my wife, I said, and this is the thing. People know me. I wear my feelings on my sleeves, and we talked about that a little bit earlier. It was about me being myself, but I would rather be myself and have one friend,
man,
than just be okay.
Say that again.
That's what I'm saying. Because I go to work, I'm a different Jay. I go to church, I'm a different Jay. I go to Norm's house, I'm a different Jay. And then it's like you lose yourself.
Yeah, that's
what I'm saying. Like, if you can think about the spaces y'all go in, whoever's listening, we do that, and sometimes it is subconscious.
You're right.
But I had to make it a point to where even if I'm in a military uniform, I'm not finna. I like being in the military, but it ain't who I am. I'm still Jay when I say the uniform. I'm Sergeant Coates, cool, do the job, but I'm still talking just how I would talk to anybody in uniform. Or if I'm at church, like people swear up and down, you gotta be way different when you around your wife, man. You wild, bro.
Yeah.
And she'll be the first one to say it. No, he don't ever change. He don't ever, you know. And when I told her that when we first started talking, I said, hey, you know, because I had kind of a rep, you know, back where I was from. So I was like, I know you probably heard some stuff, but like that's just me. Obviously, I ain't finna be out here acting crazy on you like that. But as far as my personality, I just need you to know that this is me, and all this the whole stuff we hear. I said I ain't sleep on no couch ever. I said for one. I said I ain't even the guy we see on TV that get put out his own bedroom. I said that won't happen. But I said I also won't give you a reason.
Right.
And then but for two, I said, and this was important to me, and it may sound kind of small, but I said we're ever out, because it happens all the time. Let's say I'm around you. If I'm out, I'm talking to stuff and, you know, just doing what guys do, doing all this stuff. And if I'm wrong or if I'm a little off the tilt, you text me or something.
I love that, man.
But you let me.
I love that,
you
man.
let me talk trash. Man, you let me do my thing. And hey, babe, you probably want to chill. All right, babe, I know for next time.
Yeah.
But I do not. I said the world, think about it. The world will give you these evaluations and tell you to stop doing this. And, hey, you might want to chill out. No, the world. I'm already hearing that. This goes back to slavery, right?
Yes.
This goes back to slavery times. So like the guy would go, do the job, get berated by the white man all day. He'll come home. It's the big piece of chicken. I don't know if you probably heard that story, but like, you know, the kid is asking the mama, man, why daddy always get the big piece of chicken? I want the big piece of chicken sometimes. And so she sat him down. She like, hey, like, this is his place. This is his house. It's, you know, but the world tells him no. The world tells him he's not enough. All the time. At the very least, what we can give him is a big piece of chicken.
Man, let me tell you something. You know what's wrong with our society, man? So as I'm listening to you, I have so many thoughts, right? And so you've just, it's energizing, man, sitting up here having this conversation with you. One of the problems I think in our society, specifically our country, the United States, which I love with all my heart, I think it's still the best country in the world, is when you go out to dinner, breakfast, or lunch, and you see a family, do you see that family pray?
No. I don't think, not often.
It's fun. Hey, that's one of the problems with our society now. Man, we've lost the sacredness and the covenant with God. And you see it throughout the world right now. And whatever you call God, whatever that is.
Well, it's a line.
Simply,
you go back
simply just saying, Lord, I thank you.
Yeah.
Because there's people out here that we see every day driving around, don't have a pot to piss in, sleeping in a tent.
Yep.
And sitting down just like before we started. Guess what you just did? And you just did it because that was just who you are, where you at. You prayed. Yeah. I took my hat off and said, hey, man, thank you for doing that.
Yeah.
But those are things, right? These things that we've lost, right? We got to get back to our roots. Just like, you know, I'm old school, man, because I grew up, you know, even though I was in the military, my mom worked for IBM, so we moved every 3 or 4 years.
Yeah, there you go.
But I'm from Louisiana, man.
Oh,
like
okay.
old school. Like my grandfather was that man that had the biggest piece of meat in the day. But he raised 7 kids. And guess what? We all got together every day as a family at dinner. First thing we did was pray. And then the next thing we did as we're eating, everybody had a chance to talk and spend quality time.
That's good.
So if the good Lord ever blesses me with a family, one of the things I'm gonna require in our family is us to have dinner, and when we eat, we're gonna take these phones and put them away, and we're gonna break bread as a family, and we're gonna start it off with prayer.
That's solid. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
And even for the people that don't believe,
I
tell them, you know, even pimps had lines.
That's right.
It was honor among thieves.
That's right. That's right.
And so the respect comes in, especially when you're talking about from man to man, is you know, you talking about your morality. Like, do you have a line?
That's right.
You know, first of all, like, I need to know that I can trust you. I need to know that, you know, you you know when to chill or when to stop. Because if you don't, you got somebody that just goes with the wind. That's a dangerous man.
Men, you got to understand, a lot of men are not being raised by men now.
Yeah.
So a lot of the problems that women have is because they've been abused and misused by men that have never known a man and have never known to treat a woman. So a lot of times, because you gotta understand,
they treat their mom. They want to treat their mom and their sister right though. That's what I'm saying. Like I agree, but we know what's right from wrong for the most part. We got a lot of. I know the 1% of the traumatic experiences you messed up, but you might have that coach. You might have somebody at some point to tell you something good, but we have to make a decision to listen.
Absolutely.
And that's the thing. When you're at the age of accountability, you can't use I didn't have a father. You can't use I didn't have any parents. It's part of what got you in that situation, but you still know like, hey, I can still choose.
But Jay, you just said the key word. And I talked to you earlier about it, and I laughed because you just said it. Listen.
Yeah.
It's the reason why we have 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Yeah.
I mean, just think about that for a second.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody has an opinion. Everybody wants to talk, but nobody wants to listen and truly take in what a person's saying and doing and really authentically said, hey, you know what? I've listened. Let's then propose and sit down and talk. Right?
Yeah.
And then more importantly, be open to learning. Because, man, you know what's crazy, man? What I found, that's why I love kids, man. Because unless a kid has been molested or something terrible happened to them, the thing I love about kids, they're very, very honest.
Yeah.
Brutally honest.
Absolutely. That's why I love high school.
and unless they've just been through God forbid, something abusive or something really negative or nasty, they have a sense of innocence with them.
Yeah, it's from lack of knowledge. They just want to know.
Right.
Yeah.
So I sit down. That's why I love to be around young people and kids, because I learn so much. I sit back and be like, okay, let me just.
Well, sometimes for me, it's going back to the basics.
Yeah.
And we think, especially in this church, man, we think we got it. Love, okay, I get it. Love everybody. Okay, I get it. Tithe, all the basic stuff that you learn. But sometimes we do need to be reminded of the simple things.
Say that again, bro.
And that's what kids do for me, is that the lesson might not be no Pastor Eric, deep, intuitive, whatever. But even when I speak, when I hear other people speaking, they have to break it down a little bit for the kids. But like I'm getting something from this every Sunday, and it's just it's building those blocks like of just faith. What is faith? We know what faith is. Okay, now how am I exercising this faith now? Because I have to use faith differently in each one of my seasons in my life as I'm growing.
That's right.
And so I have to relearn, if you think about it, faith each time per event. I got to have faith that my computer was going to work because we was having some technical difficulties.
You know what I call faith now?
What?
Daily deposits.
Yeah, you have to die daily. And that's what I tell people. That's one of my favorite scriptures.
Daily deposits.
It's in Lamentations. He says you have to die daily to your flesh, especially men, especially for me. Oh my goodness.
Well, you know what's helpful with that, and I'm a little older than you now. I've lived a little bit. Now.
Oh, happy birthday next week.
I appreciate it, man.
It's coming out. When your birthday?
Man, July 5th, man.
This episode is coming out July 5th. I'm going to write that down.
Oh, man.
So when y'all hear this on the 5th.
Hey, JB, just be praying for me, man.
Tell my boy
hey, it's time for me to get married and have some kids, man, before I be in a crutch. Being walking on some crutches or something one day.
I got to make sure this comes out on your birthday, man. Norman birthday. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I ain't going to cut y'all. No,
man, it's all good. What was I saying? What were we talking about just a second ago? We've been having such a substantive conversation.
Yeah, do this again.
Yeah, man.
Already.
Yeah. This is.
You said you're getting a little bit older and kind of understanding how things are going with the kids and faith, and you talk about, like you said, talk about a bunch of stuff.
Yeah, we was talking about daily deposits, right? And then I just one of the things, and this was actually where I'm gonna go somewhere else with this now. Have you ever walked around and just, so I have this saying, the eyes don't lie. Mm-hmm. Have you ever just walked around, Even if you're in a restaurant or a grocery store and just look at people and look in their eyes.
Yeah. I leave my phone in the car and I go to HEB sometimes and I look. And I pay
What's your
attention.
first observation when you see people and what you see?
We're selfish. I see that. That's the first thing I see. I was always taught in how I am in my spaces when I'm speaking to people. Most people are afraid to look somebody in the eye.
Yeah,
That's like a life corporate skill. I'm sure that you know. Like,
well, you know, one of the things that I see is sadness.
Yeah.
And when I say that, people are just living. They're not passionate. You know how when you just meet someone and they're passionate about life and you don't even necessarily know what you're seeing, be like, and it's
just
refreshing.
make you feel good. Yeah.
It's like, man, that person, we're like, woo.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, you know, that's my prayer. I'm like, God, I don't want to live. We're here temporarily. I want to be on fire. I want to be that Christian. And I've talked to Pastor E about this. Like, man, I want people to be like, man, I see a dude over there, but man, that dude got some static clean or something on him. That electricity, what's going on with this guy?
Yeah.
Just something different about him.
Yeah.
And that's when you really live in. And so that's what's really, and I've started getting back to this because of, it goes back to my walk with Christ. And the stronger my relationship is, and the stronger I get in this word, I realize that he wants powerful men of God to be like, man, that's how people are going to come to Christ and come to know whatever they call God is by men and by people like, man, I just got to know this guy's story, or this lady's story. Right?
What are we gonna do with that though?
But you know, you walk around, right? You walk around, and I it's interesting. I walk around and I just not stalking people, just kind of look and just
people watching,
and it's like, man, you're just going
through the motions.
Like is that fun? No, it's not fun.
It's not, so. I get it. We all have trauma. We all have things that we go through. But what I've been figuring out, and I had my first piece of this when I got a basic training.
You keep talking. I'm gonna fill up real quick.
I want one too. You mind making me anything, whatever you drinking?
Yeah, I'm gonna get you a little cup, man.
If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. They have creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from the phone or your computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you. We're talking about the major players, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, and many more. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. Now let's enjoy the show. We're going to take I love these parts because I get to do my little plug. Going to take a brief intermission for the No Tack Talk podcast. Yo, he going to get the drinks, y'all. But this is a reminder to go on the website, to go to notacktalk.com. Go on the Instagram, I am J Coates, wherever you listen to this, and get some merch. Your boy got the merch out, okay? We got the distress hats, we got the shirts, and we also have a super cool book bag. You can use it for your kids. You know, August is coming up. You could use it for your gym bag, but it's a really good Champion cushioned on the back book bag. And you're gonna look at the price like, yeah, it's that much, but it ain't that much, right? Because it's quality though. It is quality. But yeah, this is just my little shameless plug for the website and for the merch. Thank y'all for continuously rocking with us. So we're going to get back to the show here just in a second. And we're back just like that. We're back. But yes, go check out the merch. I know you probably just heard that, but hey, I'm excited. And this is not, as we're getting a little bit bigger as far as the listenership and everything, I didn't really do the merch for the money. Like, it goes back to it's a mic that I want. I'm gonna tell y'all the why behind the merch. It's a mic that I want. It's like $800 that I will get, that I could buy right now, but I want the podcast to pay for it, and I would appreciate the support. And also, it's when I get those big name folks coming in, as they've been coming in actually, which is for season 2 is coming up, that it legitimizes the podcast for sure. Having the merch, don't you think so?
Amen.
So I have a question for you, sir. Y'all hear this stuff on my mic. I apologize. I had to make this little thing set up because I could not find my second mic stand. I might just end up holding this mic. Anyway, for me, I've always had an issue with how do I say this? With I'll say, okay, so I've had white people, right, try to pour into me.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe like 1 or 2.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually like believed. The rest of them I didn't really hold no weight to, because I've had experiences raised in Birmingham, Alabama.
Right.
A lot of crazy stuff happening.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously what's going on. But even before that, I mean, this is a legit question I had, just to see what you think about it. I try.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not like mad at nobody. I ain't never just like looking at nobody the wrong way, give everybody the benefit of the doubt. I do that.
Mm-hmm.
When it comes down to having like these type of relationships, like we were talking about, having an inner circle, I don't think I've ever had that, and I want that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want to be able to trust a white person.
Mm-hmm. Right. No,
and
that's real.
And I when I see myself, and I had a dream about this the other day, I was like, well, God, he was kind of talking to me. Sometimes he talks through dreams, other times it's through scriptures.
Right.
And he was like, you're going to get in these places to where you're going to have your team, and, you know, and especially in the media, you have to trust people of a different race than you.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just the intent for me.
Right.
Because I don't know your true feelings. So I don't know how you was raised. I guess you get to know them and stuff, but like until I get to that point, it's really hard for me to give somebody like that. Right. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so I've been asking everybody this question lately, because it's not really like a crutch, I don't think, for me, because I'm still able to push through and work, you know, and be sociable and stuff. But like we talked about, I have a big heart, and I want to be able to do that. And I want to be able to stretch myself. And that's the part I'm still trying to grow, because I don't be trusting them, man. Yeah. So what do you think?
I'll say this: it's all about exposure. And keep in mind, I have a similar background in regards to growing up in the Deep South.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
Where the great thing about my story is that I was exposed at an early age because of sports. And sports has really kind of been a metaphor for my life, because I went from this kid that was living in a all-black neighborhood, and really the only time we saw white people were at the grocery store and on the other side of the tracks, because it was still, you know, like
they pretty sketch.
Yeah, I mean, it was like people that don't know, like Mississippi and Louisiana still has like a lot of.
Oh, it's bad. It's sometimes you can't drive.
It's like it's like a time. It's like you're going into a whole different
1950s.
Yeah. And so, but you got to understand, we didn't get the right to vote to 1960, 65, something like that.
For sure.
Well, I went from that environment as a young kid to my mom finishing college, because she had me young, and I stayed with my grandparents until she finished, to moving to Phoenix, Arizona. I was the only black kid in the whole school.
What was that like?
Man, it was sucked at first. The first few weeks, the kids was calling me. You know, when you're young, you know, 10, 11 years old, man, kids call you. I mean, they're just mean. Yeah. And call me Blackie, and I was.
Were you that? Did you find yourself being like the token black guy?
Well,
I went through that phase like a year and a half.
So here's what happened, right? So after going to the principal's office a few times, because my mom said, hey, you know, if a kid touch you, or you stand up for yourself, but if somebody touches you, you defend yourself. And my mom put me in baseball. And so a lot of those same kids that I was having issues with, we were on a team. So guess what? They had to get to know me, and I had to get to know them. So we practiced every day together. We formed a team. You don't just form a team overnight. And so after spending as much time, the parents, because racism is learned behavior.
So you didn't have anybody that you knew that their parents was like, nah, bro.
Well, I'm
on
sure
that team?
you know, when I look back,
'Cause
you know,
then
we
it's
were
still a
young. I look
decision.
back that I'm sure it was probably some parents that I wouldn't necessarily say racist, but just hadn't been around black people
And didn't know what to think.
and didn't know what to
And
think.
then comes fear, and then all types
But
of
I'll
stuff.
fast
Yeah.
forward and I'll give you, and this is the truth.
Yeah.
Some of those same kids became some of my best friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then when my mom got a better job, she got a job offer from IBM because she worked at Honeywell at the time in Arizona. She notified the school and notified my coach and everybody that I was that we were leaving. I had 4 of those families trying to adopt me.
Oh wow.
And man, it went from them calling me names.
So then my head goes to, and this is how bad I have it. My bad head goes to, now they're doing it just to say, oh, I saved this black child as a thing.
Well, that's the thing. It wasn't because my mom had a great job.
No, I'm not saying that's what happened, but that's what I'm asking about.
But what ended up happening, you know, when people care about you, when a person invites you over their house and you break bread with them, people don't just invite you over their houses and you're spending time with their family and kids. True. Right?
Yeah.
Not, you know, you think about it, right?
That's cool,
and so I'll be honest with you, man, some of my best friends, some of the people that have helped me the most have been people that have not looked like me. Mm-hmm. White men, white women. Yeah. And to this day, I have some of the closest friends that look nothing like me and grew up nothing like me. But guess what? We all have some of the same core values. It goes back to core values. Mm-hmm. When you peel that layer, because it's about exposure. When you peel that layer, you find out it's not about Democrat or Republican or liberal. You find out we're probably more like in the middle on most things. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I got a buddy right now. I had to pray on it because he was a huge Trump guy.
Yeah.
And I had an issue with it at first. Right? Mm-hmm. But if I call that guy right now, Jay, if I called him at 3 a.m, that dude would be right there in battle with me, whatever I needed.
Absolutely.
And he's one of I call him like my brother. And I've been knowing him 3 years.
Yeah.
And at first, he probably was like, at first, from the outside looking, I'm like, man, I don't, you know, we're totally from the, but when I sat down with him, I said, Lord, you know what, just let me be open. Because I had a real problem with him. Prayer. I had a real problem with him supporting Trump and knowing, because we would have these conversations like, man, do you realize, you know, some of the things that he's done in the past with redlining with his dad and all. I was bringing up facts and all. And so I didn't like some of his answers. But then at the end of the day, God revealed to me, it was like,
I know that stuff matter.
Like, you know Hans, you know his heart. Mm-hmm. You've been around his family. Mm-hmm. You've been around his people, and we've become the best of friends. If I needed a job, if he could help me, he'd be there. Yeah. And so, but that was the beauty, kind of going back to kind of what your initial ask was. It comes back to exposure and just staying open, because you're going to have some people that come in your life that it's going to be like, man, yeah, you're not colorblind, but you're going to be like, man, this is my brother. Yeah. This is my sister.
I have people like that, and we've had that conversation, and I give them the same example. I say, hey, I just need to know that if we're in the car together and we get pulled over, you're going to use that privilege for good, not evil. Mm-hmm. You're not going to and so when I know that, then I'm like, okay, and I got to, and it's from the military, and this is coming from a combat realm, because there's different parts of the Army. Yeah. I'm chemical by nature, but I'm always attached to like the infantry or the artillery or whatever else. And so that's where all them small town white boys come from. Right. And just imagine, I'm the only black guy to like, it's saying at that time, like 90 people. I had waves. Sergeant Coach, let me touch your way. Every little stigma, they just using it on me. Yeah. So I've had a lot of bad experiences, but still, like you were saying, something inside of me, the Holy Spirit, having a big heart, whatever you want to call it, said that, okay, we're still going to, before you flip and be that stereotype, whatever, right? Mm-hmm. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I said, again, back to the basics. What would Jesus do? And now I'm back in the scripture. Now I'm back in Matthew and Mark. That's right. Jesus would go to the people that nobody would talk to. He would go to the prostitute or whoever else, and he would have those hard conversations with the people that were trying to kill him, and still give them the benefit of the doubt, knowing the malice. So I can at least do it for people that was trying, But what I found, and if anybody else has the issue, is that you have to again say it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey man, this is kind of where I'm at.
Mm-hmm.
We dope, we cool, but I just need to know. And that's been kind of like steps for me. Is like,
well, once you, and then I know
Just
you've
to-
moved a lot with you and your wife.
Yeah.
And moved, and we've talked about this earlier. But once you kind of establish yourself and get into a community and say, hey, this is where we're gonna have a family, and this is where we're planning on. Hey, just like kind of where I'm at now in life. Like I moved out here, Jay, not in this house, and the size of this house. To be by myself. I moved out here purposely because I was like, listen, I want to be in a position to where I'm setting myself up for a family.
Yeah.
And I knew that this would be a family neighborhood, and maybe if no single guys like me. And so it's been a blessing because I was very intentional. But what I've done, I've made it a point to go out. I walk my neighborhood and I get to know people.
Yeah.
And they get to know me from me. And then I've developed
these good relationships,
really sincere,
that's so good,
like relationships to where they're like, I'm Uncle Norm to their kids,
yeah,
to these little white, boys and girls. I was just they come to my house. Hey Norm, they call me. Hey Norm, can they come over and yeah, and they invite me birthday parties, wedding, you name it. And I generally know that they look at me like, man, I'm an extension of their family. I'm part of their family. That's what I believe that God intended for us as brothers and sisters to have, and not this, hey, I'm this, and that. No, we're one. We're one.
It's the common denominator.
It's the common denominator. It's love, man.
Yes, man.
Light will blow darkness out the house, right?
Yeah.
I mean, even
It's
people
good.
that
It's
are
helping me
evil, people that you just like, that they just don't like you, just the way they look at you. You just smile at them and you pray for people like that, because that's a terrible. It's harder for me to be mean or not speak to somebody versus me seeing somebody and saying, hey, how are you? Or smile at somebody like, hey, how are you?
Yeah.
Hello.
Yeah, man.
And so it's just that it's that common denominator, man. We're humans and we're all in this thing together. And if the pandemic didn't teach us anything, it taught us one thing, that hey, it don't matter who you are. We're all in this thing together.
Yeah. And that's what they say in the Army. We all green.
Yeah,
as they say. And so, that helped me out, man.
Yeah, man.
I appreciate that. Because I think God put me in the office now where I'm the minority. It's like it's straight Hispanics in there now.
Yeah.
Because the last place I was at, that's the place I was talking about. And it was rough. The boss that I had, he told me, he said, Sergeant Coates, he said, you smiling too much. He said, I gotta fix that.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Wow.
From a white guy.
Wow.
And he always wanted me with him because he knew I went to church and did different things like that. He's like, and so the same guy that would say stuff like that and would legit try to go out of his way to ruin my day. Like, it's crazy. Yeah. We'll be in the field or something, 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning. I'm like on radio guard or something random, and he come in the truck, and he would make me his driver. He's the first sergeant, real big guy, make me his driver just so I could be in his truck. And he came in there one night. Oh man, Jay, my wife and this little bug in your drink. It's in your drink. Yeah, my wife and this, and just tell me all this stuff that they going through, and I'm like, I'm looking up, like, God, are you serious? He's like, can you pray for me?
Hey,
hey,
you know that a saying, God works mysterious ways.
That was the hardest prayer.
Hey, bro, that ain't number God, man.
That was the hardest prayer I prayed, because I wanted to be like, no, I ain't gonna pray for you.
I'm telling you, God works.
That's the short story.
God works in mysterious ways.
I did it though, and it grew me up, and I mean. While I'm praying, I'm legit feeling it. It's like, what's that movie with the green guy for Christmas? The Grinch. I really felt something inside of me, like, I don't know how to describe it. I felt like growth. I felt like, okay, God, I'm listening.
Right.
And I kind of felt like a nod, like, all right, Jay, okay, you ready? And so as far as that, to make a kind of a segue, I tell people when I talk to them about becoming a Christian or having a relationship with God, I say all you got to do is believe that Jesus died for your sins. You go to heaven, and that's really it. And it's a big deal in itself. But when you get to the point, I guess, of what we're talking about, where just like any organization, any boss, whatever, you have opportunities to grow.
Yeah. And
God gives you these little events. He said, okay, I know I got it. You going to heaven, you good. Your seat right there, it's in the back. It's like row 8, number 12, right? Your house already on top of the hill. But how deep do you want to go in this relationship with me? And that's so real. For me, it's just been like, okay, God, I do want more. I do want a better relationship. I want to, like you said, I want to pray for discernment or, benefit other people that's, I know, drinking milk and I got the steak, but I need to let them, hey, man, at least try this hot dog out. Let's try this, right? And so I do invite people to grow in God. Yeah. Not just to be like they say that Pew Christian. They got their favorites. What they say?
I know what you're saying. I can't think of the name, but
just not to just get your word and not give it to somebody else, or that person you hate at work is probably actually it's a lady right now in my job. I can just tell she's just mad bitter. Yeah. And I pray for her.
I mean, just think think about how miserable she is.
So miserable, and I see that, but like I just like I'm gonna pray for you for a distance. Yeah. We gotta have our own little beef, but overall, I'm like, no, I had to think about like, man, like she's probably going through a lot. And so at first I'm being petty, doing me, whatever. But after a while, like I was like, hey, you probably need to pray for her. You probably need to go talk to her. And so again, it sucks. Nobody's saying it doesn't suck, but that's your opportunity to grow. And God wants you to do that, because then he will bless you with more. Yeah.
Well, I got to say this, Jay. God has huge plans for you.
I appreciate it.
Real talk, brother. And I'm not saying that half-heartedly. I feel that, I firmly believe that, and I know that to be true. And we're in this journey together, man. I'm
glad I met you, man.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I appreciate just the love, man. Just thinking enough about me we sit up here, and this is something new for me, right? I mean, I'm just a guy that's trying to serve and I figured out my purpose over a lot of trials and good and bad and things that have happened in my life. I realized my purpose, and at the end of the day, I work every day and try to be a good citizen, but at the end of the day, my heart's desire, and I know that God has me here to serve others and be a vessel, and as long as I'm doing that,
you can't go wrong.
I'm going to keep winning, right? He's going to honor the things the desires of my heart, right? And he's blessed me. He's blessed me, man. And so, and I want to bless other folks.
Yeah. I just, like we were talking about earlier, we about to wrap it up. It's been about an hour. It usually go about an hour and a half. I ain't trying to take too much of your night. Yeah. What was I finna say? I lost my thought already. I forgot. Oh, no. Yeah, so when I started the podcast, it was, like I said, it was for selfish reasons, but God had to grow me in that area as well. He was like, the things that you say, and because you first start out anything, you're not getting the numbers that you want or whatever. But as soon as I started, and I prayed before each episode, I said, hey, God, I want you to obviously speak through me. It doesn't matter if we talk about God or not.
That's right. That's right.
I said, I want you to speak through me. And I said, whenever I start feeling myself, I want you to step in and tell me to shut up.
Yeah.
I
mean, even if we touch one person, man, that's all. At the end of the day, right? We're here, to hopefully something resonates with someone to maybe go out and do some good, or go out and bless some other folks, man. Yeah, that's my prayer, and talk about subjects that are taboo, that maybe people have touched on, but really hadn't really just went in depth into. Hey, maybe we need to unpeel some more layers of this and talk a little bit more, right? Because we all listen. At the end of the day, I don't care who you are. I mean, you look at the news and you look at people every day. That's, man, on paper, they got everything in life. And then next thing you know, they done committed suicide. Or they done went out and killed. Just people, you're like, man, that lady had everything.
every day I on my way to work, I drive to downtown. I drive to like the Mount Bonnell area and seeing all these super huge houses, and it used to like depress me, Loki. I can't front, cause you know we could go do our house thing. We travel, ain't no point, you know. But God would just, he said, you need to see the bar or the exposure or the different things. He said, obviously we talk about the motivations. We see this stuff all on Instagram all the time. But he was like, he said, I want more for you. Know that God wants more for you. I had a preacher back home, mansion, okay? But he said, I still want more. Why? Because God is bigger than
bigger than any of your
Jay-Z
dreams, man.
mansion ever. And so the deeper you go on him and the more you're praying and just actually reading the verse of the day on your phone instead of just ignoring it. Yeah. Just simple stuff, right? But then he will stretch you out and you will get what you want and then you won't even care about it.
But think about it. But I always tell people, be careful what you pray for and ask for sometimes too.
It comes to it as
because it comes with more sacrifices, more responsibility, and more everything.
And even the thing to go back to the story that I was talking about, all the girls that I was talking to with the model vixen bodies or whatever, everyone I talked to had drama, had issues. I mean, it was one girl, man, I was wanting to talk to so bad, and I finally got her number. She was finna come over, it's about to go down. And she was, an 11. You know? Yeah. And it just so happened, I'm talking to my homeboy. He's like, oh, yeah, I heard she had herpes, dog.
Yeah. I mean, you know.
I'm like, every time. I'm like, after that, I was like, nah, man, I got to just go looking for substance. Because for men, and we done. But for men, we want to be able to, bro, I got the car, I got the girl, I got the house.
That goes back to finding
no
out truly what your purpose is and understanding what society has taught us what drives happiness. Really, ultimately, a lot of times drives misery and a heartache. So you go out and say, hey, man, you know, I can tell you what I pay in taxes every year on this house. And you'd probably be like, man, pour me a damn drink. So imagine having that responsibility and something happens and then you're still having, you don't know. I mean, you know, things can change like that.
Yeah.
I mean, so and that's why I love to travel. And that's why I love to get out and meet people and talk to people. And you find a lot of people, especially not in this country and other countries, are happy with just the simplistic things, and they just seem like they have a better quality of life. Yeah. Because us as Americans, we've become huge consumers.
Oh yeah, first world
problems. So we
buy
all this stuff.
First world problems.
We buy all this stuff to impress other people, and then we got to figure out how to pay for this. Man. And then we quadruple the debt that we originally had. So now we're slaves to our stuff.
Just for some tail. Just so
right? I mean, think about it. How many cars can you drive at one time?
How many pairs?
How many rooms? How many rooms
you be in at
your
one
house?
time? Yeah.
How big do you really need a house to be happy?
Yeah.
Versus saying, hey, I'm happy where I'm at. I don't need all this stuff. I got enough. God's blessed me enough of my savings and all this stuff that I can travel and see the world and do some things.
For sure.
And that's a mindset, right?
Yeah.
That's where the growth comes in, right? That's the things that I wish that I've had to learn, right?
Yeah.
You know, so and that's the beauty about being, it goes back to what we talked about earlier. Show me your village, I'll show you your altitude.
Ooh.
Surround yourself with good counsel, man. So the men,
my
the people,
altitude just went up.
Man, hey, hey, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because what you'll find is that once you start making a certain amount of money, say you're making 150, 200 grand versus making $500,000 a year. It may sound crazy, but it's all relative.
Yeah.
Because you can still do all the stuff that you want to do and have. But a lot of times people, when they start making more, they spend more. And then they got more shit to take care of and all more responsibilities. So then when you're around people that are successful and people that you can talk to and share it and really just, you know, I know we can't cover everything on this time, right? but really just break down like, man, what really makes you happy? What really makes me happy, honestly, is being around good people, man, that I can break bread with and fellowship with, man, and do things with. And I built this house not for me.
Yeah.
Not to be, look at me. I built this house to have
Yeah.
brothers like you
And
over
for
and
your
sisters
family.
and people to come over and be like, man, Norm, man, I just feel comfortable. This has been a blessing.
Oh,
man.
absolutely. Yeah.
And that's what it's
reached your
about.
desired
That's
effect.
what you and that's what I prayed for, man. It was like, God, it's not about me. It's like, God, I want to be able to share and be able to be a blessing, and people come over and be like, man, even if you just want to go to sleep, man, like, man, if your house come, I just want to go to sleep.
Yeah.
I just want to come home and just hang out, man, just because I feel the love, right? And that's where I realized where my happiness comes in. Like, man, I just love being around good people and learning and breaking bread, eating good food, having me a glass of wine, having me a glass of whiskey, whatever the case may be, and us growing. Let's figure out where we can possibly go, you know, or
facts.
You know what I'm saying?
I'm all about that.
Yeah, man.
And I think about I saw it on the History Channel one time. It was this guy that lived out in the middle of the woods. You know, he grew his own food and everything. And they asked him, like, you don't want more? You don't want TV? He was like, he was a minimalist too, but still, he was like, nah, I'm happy. He said, I enjoy nature. That's what makes me happy. I build houses, you know, for people. And
man,
I'm
traveling
content.
and, you know, traveling gives you a huge perspective on, like, man.
We blessed, man.
Yeah.
The guy who invented the YouVersion app, he's obviously a preacher. Well, I don't know if that's obvious, but he's a preacher, really big church. He said, think about it like this. He said, okay, you wake up, you go to work, and then, you know, you want to go out to eat or something. So you go out to eat. You first of all, you drive with your vehicle, no matter how trashy it is, with gas in your car, with air conditioning from the heat outside or heat. You park in a parking spot. You walk into another establishment. You have somebody that takes you to your table. And you have another separate person who takes your order, waiting on you hand and foot, filling up your drink. This is just the experience. You have another person who cooks that food. They bring it to you. You tip them or whatever. You go back home to your house with with central heat and air. Okay, with a pillow, with a bed. We're talking about basic necessities. And he did the math. He said, even for you people that don't believe scientifically, we're like in the top, 80%. I forgot how he put it. He said, we're more, if you have a house, a car, and a job, 40-hour job, you know, a week job, you're like one of the top 10, 10% of the world. So we look at just United States, but he said in the world, you're rich. He said, you know how many people that would love just to have a house that's not made out of clay and mud?
Well, guess what, Jay? I'm going to go a little further. If you got your health, brother, you're rich.
Some people walk miles for a doctor that has from mission trips.
And this would be another podcast.
I'm coming back over here.
At one point, I didn't have my health. So when you have your health as a man, you're rich, bro.
You unstoppable.
You rich. You're rich. Give me my health. You give me my health.
All the money. We see all these movies. Guys got all the money in the world.
But if you ain't got your health, I don't care how much money you got. That's your wealth.
But then they gonna say, I could be Magic Johnson. People always got something to say.
You
these
know
comments.
Yeah,
I know. I got you.
Man, I'm just saying, man, your health, man. And people don't understand that until they lose it. And then a lot of times when you lose it, it's too late. And then that same man that was like Babylon that had everything is praying for just, God, give me my health back. I'll give it all up.
And then
I'll give it all up. I'll give it all
listen.
away.
It's too late to listen.
It's too late.
I always feel like that for me. God's like, all right now. All right, Jay.
Yeah.
I really feel him. Like, and something what you were saying earlier, I feel like God is just like waiting on me. Like I picture a door.
Yeah.
And he just like, I'm ready.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just feel like I have to be consistent long enough and doing the right things to just.
Well, you get it.
That.
It's about daily deposits.
Yeah.
Every day getting stronger.
And
some days not, every day is not going to be a great day, but every day just getting stronger with your walk with him.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just, man, it's an instruction on this earth, man. It gives us instructions on how to navigate all through this stuff. Not we're not going to go through anything, but man, we're going to have, with God, we're going to have pure joy even through the tough times.
Yep.
Through the tough times, you still smile and be like, baby, you tell your wife, baby, we good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it may not look good, but we good.
I laugh in the face of danger.
We good. We good.
That's good,
Yeah,
man.
man.
We almost done. The last question, the last 2 segments we do on the
Yes.
podcast. The first one is if you could have any superpower, what would it be, and how would you use it to make money?
Man.
I'm obviously big on superheroes. So
this just came to me.
okay.
I would have the power to heal.
No, I can't accept that. It has to be selfish.
Selfish.
It needs to be a selfish superpower. I don't want you heal. Man. People always say that. Everybody, I want to heal. I want to cure hunger. I heard all of that.
Cancer and all this stuff.
No.
Okay. Superpower.
I want a selfish Norm superpower that would make your life better.
Oh, man. That's a great question. Make my life better.
Like, for me, I always tell people I would do the Flash, like super speed.
Yeah.
Because, like, well, it's both. So, like, obviously, I'm slow. I'm a distance runner, you know, but like, I'm not a sprinter at all. Not at all. And even from my mind, I was telling you about the ADHD earlier. I've always wanted to slow my brain down because you've probably seen Flash before, right?
Yeah.
When he's moving really fast, it's slow for him.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's another reason because I've always been moving on, like, the speed of light, but I ultimately just want to slow down.
Yeah.
So that's my superpower.
Man, I think my superpower would be, shoot, man.
What you got?
Man, my superpower would be like Albert Einstein.
Okay,
man, being the smartest man in the world.
Okay, I'll take. Okay, it's a lot of ways to make money with that one.
Yeah, dude, I would be that dude.
So you would get lonely though.
Shit, I'm lonely now, but I'm happy.
That's a lonely life. You ever remember seeing SpongeBob when he got Patrick got that brain coral?
Yeah.
He said, "I'd rather be dumb." I'm not saying you dumb, but I'd rather be dumb and be friends with SpongeBob than have brain core because when you know everything, you know everything.
Yeah.
We couldn't have this conversation because why would I come on Jay's podcast? He can't inspire
but
me.
But guess what?
Me.
I'll be getting James up to speed with me.
Man.
That's the power I had. Jay would come out with more superpower. He'd come out with some superpowers like me because we sit down and I break it down with you.
That's true.
I break it down.
Well, then you really couldn't have a relationship because you would know it all. Think about it. Not tell you that firsthand. Being married, you got to be wrong and know you right sometimes.
Yeah, but I ain't God. Remember that.
I'm saying, but if you know everything, every little bit of arguments y'all have, no, man, I wonder what that is. You just going to automatically know.
But I'm still not God, though. He's going to put, he's still not God.
You tell that woman that. You tell her that. She ain't going to care.
Yeah.
I feel like I know too much right now. Sometimes I be like, man, it ain't even that deep. You right. I'm picking my battles. Okay. The last one, and usually I will have a scripture here. I have one ready, but what was the one you said earlier in Proverbs?
Oh, man. Man, it's my favorite one.
Yeah, what's that?
Trust in the Lord with all your heart. Lean not only to your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path.
Break it down for me.
Man.
We'll be out of here. We always end up in the scripture. No matter what I talk about, we end up with some words.
So that's Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5 through 6.
Okay, I'm write that down.
So my interpretation of that, Jay, is we are not Jesus or God. And when we take away the macho-ness and all the stuff that we think we know and truly trust in him, truly with all your being, say, Lord, I surrender all to you and trust you with everything, not my will, not my flesh. You will always take care of me, and I always go the right direction. And I always come out on top. That's my interpretation.
You heard it here first, people.
My brother.
Yo, I just want to say publicly on the podcast, man, I appreciate you for inviting me over to your awesome house, man. This is the first time I've ever done this in somebody else's crib. So this is amazing. I got to kind of spread my wings here and get the whole little setup in the crib. So it was really nice to do that. This is the first one, like I said, I've done since the pandemic.
Yeah, man.
So this is invaluable, and I appreciate it. This man got me some food. We up here sipping on some drink, and we vibing. Got some Masego playing downstairs. It's a vibe. And this is initially and really what we're talking about. It's all about breaking bread, having a heart for people, because not only does God want that for us, but
Amen.
Even if you don't believe in God, you should want that for yourself, to
Amen.
just be a genuine person. And so the kicker about that is that people will recognize if you're genuine or not.
Absolutely.
And I say this all the time. A dog knows right from wrong. A dog knows like that bad energy.
That's right.
Toddlers, kids know. Like, I don't know why I don't like him, but I'm gonna cry because it's just something about him or that person or whatever. And so, man, you are definitely all right with me. And I appreciate you. I want to say that, man. You are definitely a stand-up, genuine dude. And hey, I thank God for you, bro.
That's love, brother. I
Yes,
appreciate you, man.
absolutely.
That's love. Now
So-
we got to get us a picture.
Yeah, we doing that. So, how we ended, this has been another edition of the No Tact Talk podcast. It's always a reminder to live life on purpose and always live with a little no tact in your life. Peace.
Peace.